Let's give our free mama welcome to Michelle Terpstra. Come on up.
So grateful to finally see you all in person for all of 2022. I saw all your faces on Zoom multiple times every single month. So I would love for anyone that I coached on Zoom to stand up right now. I want to see the visualization. Ah, yes! Oh my God, I love it! Okay, so before I jump into how you can close these ultra high ticket profitable offers, I want to tell the story of how I got connected with Lauren, because I feel like this is really, really important, because one of the biggest values in my business, and honestly most of the biggest value for a lot of people who choose to work with me, is relationships, okay? I care about my people so much. That goes for my business friends, my personal friends, my clients, and anybody who wants to come to me to receive support. And I went to Funnel Hacking Live knowing no one. I just was like, oh, this is a good event. I should just go. So I show up, and if you've ever been to Funnel Hacking Live before, that's exactly where you go where you don't know anybody. There's like thousands of people trying to like push down the door into the, watch the kickoff speech, and oh my gosh, it was so crazy. So I go, and I don't know anyone, and I just start figuring out like, oh, I'll find friends. And I got adopted. It was awesome. Found my people. It was really fun, and still some of my best friends till today. But when I was listening and Lauren came on stage, I just kind of sat there and I was like, wow, we have the same values. I need to know her. So I went there not knowing anyone, and then I decided I'm going to be friends with somebody on stage. I just made that commitment. I was like, nope, we're going to be friends. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but we're going to be friends. And so then the event ended, and I went home, and I started to pay attention. I call this social listening. Does anyone know what social listening is? Okay, it means that you don't have to really do anything. You just start to put the web together, like who knows who helps who coaches who's in these pods, and I identified a mutual friend of Lauren and mine, and one of my actually first coaches. And so I reached out to her via Voxer. Anybody else spend their life on Voxer like I do? I love it. And I said, hey, Allie, do you think you could introduce me to Lauren Golden? And she said, sure, why? And I was like, I just really want to know her. I really want to know her. And she said, okay, no problem. And so she introduced me to her via Voxer. And without any intent, I was just like, Lauren, can we jump on a call and get to know each other? Once again, I knew no one at Funnel Hacking Live, weaved my way through, and got on this call. I really had no intention for that call at all. I just wanted to explore, like, who Lauren was, how we could potentially help each other, and just get to know her and be in a room with someone that shared similar values. Anyone? Yeah? Okay, you want to share a room with similar values. Long story short, it was a 30-minute call that turned into me supporting her free mama community for an entire year. And it was very coincidental on timing, and if you pay attention to her timeline, there was a period in her business where she needed outside support. And I was one of the people that she trusted with her community to come in and support. And when I'm watching her with her timeline and just thinking about the last couple of years, I'm like, wow, I didn't realize like how important that role was until listening to her story right now. And I think that this is a really beautiful opportunity for all of us to think about, like, who do you want to be in the room with? Who do you want to be in the room with? Who do you want to share values with? Who do you want to share this business journey with? And then full circle, I remember watching Lauren on stage and thinking, I think I need to move this mic a little. Okay. So, and I remember sitting there being like, I want to know her, right? And then full circle, here I am on her stage. That's incredible, right? And so this is the thing. Do not wait to be invited. And this is going to go into my sales story in a little bit, right? Do not wait to be invited, because you're likely going to miss an enormous opportunity. And if I think about it, if I hadn't asked for that introduction, I would have missed all of those women that just stood up. I would have missed being and having an opportunity to be here. And I would have missed a lot. So we have choices every single day. And if you want something, you have to ask for it. No one is just going to give it to you, but you have to ask for it. And Casey's story is amazing too. Like, hey, Lauren, can I be on your stage this year? And then boom, MC, right? If she hadn't asked, probably wouldn't have been selected, not because she didn't want Casey to be there, but she needed it to be planted in her mind that this is a woman who believes in the brand that wants to be here and support her, okay? So can we just get a round of applause for asking to be in the room? Okay. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, so we're going to talk about closing ultra high ticket sales right now. So first of all, and you're going to want to hang out. This is not the time you want to use the restroom because at the end, I'm going to workshop live with whoever wants to volunteer, okay? All right, so you're going to want to hang out. So first of all, I need a show of hands for anyone who sells something that is $1,000 or more. Hands up. Okay, $2,000 or more? $3,000 or more? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 15. Okay, 20. Okay, what do you sell? Oh, love it. That's awesome. Incredible. Okay, so I want to tell everyone in the room right now, if you choose, just like Lauren had said earlier, to really specialize and get incredibly good at what you do, every single one of you can sell a $20,000 to $50,000 offer, okay? Now, depending on what your financial goals are, like how many of those do you need per year? Probably not that many. And so I'm a quality over quantity business. So when I'm answering all those questions earlier that Lauren had up, that's what's important to me, is I am quality over quantity. Every single time I try to run ads, I'm like, why'd I do that? Oh my gosh, it's like I'm allergic to ads, right? And I'm like, instead, I'm just gonna go talk to people and then I make a bunch of money, okay? So you have to figure out like what you're really good at and what lights you up. And I cannot tell you how many times. So I have business coaches all the time. I've hired contractors, consultants, blah, 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 blah. And you know what? Looking back on it, there's really only 50% of them actually care what I want. And they try to push you in this like cookie cutter thing because it's the only thing they know how to teach, right? And they want you to get results. I think it has good intention, right? But if you're in this room and you coach other business owners, please don't put baby in a corner, okay? All right, baby doesn't need to be in a corner. Everybody's business is different. And you'll become a better coach, a better consultant, a better strategist if you can respect those things. So it's really, really crucial. So for me, I'm quality over quantity, which is why I'm talking about this, okay? Because I don't need very many of these larger deals in order to hit my goals. Now, I'm going to talk about the evolution of my business and what's happening right now in a little bit. But first, I want to talk about this. All right. So how to close 20 to 50K deals. And what I like about this is, of course, I had to make it pitchy and fun and good for marketing, right? So without fancy funnels, webinars, high-pressure sales tactics, which, funny story about high-pressure sales tactics. So I come from a big corporate background. I worked for 3 Fortune 500s before starting my own business in sales. And when you work for Fortune 500 companies and you're selling, you don't even think about the fact if you're being salesy. Like, that's not even a word. Like, funny story, my mom, court reporter, grammar queen, she still combs through my stuff and tells me if I make a grammatical error. And because I don't pay attention to details like that. So she's like, Michelle, I think that you're misspelling something because what is this word you keep saying, salesy? I've tried looking it up, and I don't think it's a real word. And I'm like, oh, Mom, it's an industry word. It's spelled correctly. Just add it to your dictionary, okay? And it's been like this ongoing thing. So the salesy thing really kind of birthed itself in the online business world, okay? And I could go on for days and days over why I think that happened. But the thing is that I come with a totally different perspective. Sales is service. Sales is service. Sales means that I can provide for my family, my friends, I can live my life. Sales means that the company makes an impact. Sales is this beautiful thing, right? So I want you all, especially if you struggle with sales, to just take a deep breath and allow me to provide you with a different way to view it, okay? Can everyone do that for me? I don't think I heard it. Okay, awesome. Perfect. Okay, so I think most of you know me. I'm not going to go into a bunch of detail here, but this is the thing. I care about a couple of things, sales and profit, okay? Every single time I meet someone and they say, oh, my revenue was this or my revenue was that, I was like, oh, how cool. How much did you pay yourself? And I'm like, oh, that's great, right? So, or like, are you paying your team well? Like, I'm just curious. And because that's what matters to me. So it's not revenue, it's profit, okay? And that's why I like high ticket, because if you do it correctly, it's like an 80% profit margin, unlike some other strategies that you just hope to cover your costs, okay? And so those are things that I really, really care about, and I'm excited to talk about. All right, so kind of done a lot of things in a very short period of time. I started my business January of 2020. Any other 2020 business owners in the room? Yeah, woohoo, all right. So in that period of time, now and watch this, compared to Lauren, right? Didn't she tell me not to do this? With her giant audience, I actually put this up here to show you that I don't really actually have a huge following, but I make a ton of money. And this is really, really important for everyone there who's looking at vanity metrics that don't really matter. Anybody kind of found themselves going down the vanity metrics spiral? Anyone? Oh, you can all say you didn't, but you did. All right, thank you. So what I decided to do a while back is that I wanted to act as a fractional chief sales officer. Anyone else do fractional work? Okay, we got a couple of hands here. Okay, so what a fractional chief sales officer does, or any C-level executive at that level, goes into an organization and absorbs that executive role in a fractional way, which means it's like part-time, right? So you do it for multiple organizations, depending on how you structure it. You're not doing very much implementation, you're more strategy, okay? The reason why I wanted to do that is because you can charge a ton for it. It's super fun, and it meant that I got to get inside some really high-level brands. Now, why would I want to get in with all the high-level brands? I want to know what makes everything tick so that I can help my clients also know what makes everything tick and become better at my craft. I also realized that I'm kind of the best sales strategist I've ever met. Okay, and I'm like, oh, I'm really good at this, so I can take somebody and get them to make a bunch more money, like millions. This is so fun. Does anyone else think they're the best at what they do? Yeah? Okay, actually, we're going to do a thing where you have to stand up, okay? If you think you're the best at what you do, I want you to stand up. Yes, in the back. Woo, yes. Oh my goodness, I love this. So guess what? If you're the best and you go back to supply and demand, you can charge a lot. And everyone who's still sitting, you just haven't found your best yet. And that's okay, and you're going to get there. You're probably closer than you think. So that was my journey. This is what I decided to do, and this is how I was selling such ultra-high ticket programs, as a fractional chief sales officer. And so we're going to talk about what it looks like for whatever your business type is to craft an offer that looks like that. Okay, and we've got to break rules because A, it's great marketing, okay? And then 2 is, anybody else kind of like to break the rules and see what happens? Yeah? Okay, I love breaking the rules and see what happens, okay? It's actually quite fun. So first of all, I have a ton of fancy funnels in my business. I love my fancy funnels, but you don't need them, right? It's your choice. You don't have to have fancy funnels. For God's sakes, please don't do long sales calls, okay? Nobody wants to be on the receiving end or the doing end of a long sales call, okay? They're just, no one has time for an hour to decide if they want to work with you, so we're going to talk about how you shorten that, okay? A lot of you have my discovery call framework. Yeah, hands, woohoo, okay. So that is what we're going to review. And then also the high-pressure sales tactics. So I'm going to have a moment on my soapbox because I do have a stage right now, okay? I'm going to talk about the high-pressure sales tactics. This is the thing. Guess what? They work. They work. And you know why that stinks? is because it's a huge, huge risk for your business, your brand reputation, and the longevity of your company. Because guess what happens? If you pressure people to say yes to you just so you can make the money, guess what they do? They get resentful, they charge back, they talk trash behind you, they don't come back for other offers, they don't send you referrals, and it is hugely risky. So this is the thing, is that it works, which is why people keep doing it, but you don't have to do it to be successful. Can I get a heck yes? All right, awesome. The next thing is that if you stay in your comfort zone, well, I'm probably not the speaker you're going to like the most, first of all, okay? So we have to get out of our comfort zone. I am constantly out of my comfort zone, constantly. And it can feel super uncomfortable, but if you learn how to embrace it and have fun with it and not be too hard on yourself, it can be incredible. All right, so here's the difference that I want to talk about right now. First of all, for the love of God, please deliver on your promises. Oh my goodness gracious, okay? If you say you're gonna do something for a client, do it, and do it even better than you said you were going to. This is so incredibly crucial. Now, I usually get the question from newer entrepreneurs or those that are taking like the next step forward, but Michelle, like I haven't done it before. What if I mess it up? What if this, what if that, what it is? And I'm like, well, what if you knock it out of the park? And what if you realize halfway into it that you're like, ooh, I might have to work a little harder to get this done. So what? So you're gonna work harder to get it done. Oh, but Michelle, what if like I really get stuck? Then ask for help. There is a solution to it every single time. And I want to encourage you to really trust yourself that you can do it. The next thing is short, purposeful Zoom calls. Okay. You can see me eyeing you right now. Can I put you on the spot? Can I get a mic? Okay. Arielle, can you stand up? This is like the best story. So, I mean, how many years? Probably 2 or 3 years we've known each other at this point. Yeah. And I just love this. I want you to tell the story of what happened when you decided you were going to have discovery calls that were short and purposeful and what you learned to do on them.
Okay, so my calls were extremely long, and I didn't even end in a cell. So it was kind of getting a little resentful and overwhelming, and I was like, what's the point of it? And so our lovely Michelle joined us. She told us about her offer that she had outside of the Free Mama, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to sign up for it. And the stuff that she wanted me to implement, I'm like, but for what? Like, she wanted us to decorate the backgrounds. I'm like, I have a white wall. It's clean. It's nice. It's pretty. It's tactful. And she was like, no, but seriously, just a picture and a frame. That's it. Like, just do something back there. Let your background look like something. It elevates the call. And I had people really recognizing and really seeing me as like this higher level person. Like, just simply adding a frame and a picture in my background changed how people saw me. They felt like I really had my stuff together. Although I did, it just seems to have changed the difference, shortening my calls. My calls went from an hour, sometimes an hour and 30 minutes, to in the no, to 30 minutes, and if we are not closing on this call, then get back to me and let me know, and I'll let you know, and give them a date on when you're going to hear from them. And so it just went from being very stressful and overwhelming to actually making a difference and like building friendships like really quickly. Like, I like you now. Like, I'm not on the call with you for an hour and a half for you to tell me no. Like, I don't hate you. You know what I'm saying? So it really like small. I mean, I promise you, they're very, very small changes, like just putting on an actual blouse, like just very, very small changes that I did that made the world of difference in how people viewed me on my sales calls. It was no longer they were running the call, I was running my call.
Oh my God, that was so good at the end. Oh! So at the core of what I do is I teach leadership in a sales container. That is really the core of what I do. I think that everyone should be self-led. Everyone should feel independent, secure, and be able to achieve anything that they want. And for the longest time, I kept trying to use the word sales leadership in this space, and it fell on like deaf ears. Everyone's like, I don't know what that is. I don't want to do it, right? So I had to get my marketing hat on and do other things. And now everyone is starting to understand how incredibly crucial self-led leadership is. And then if you ever end up deciding you want a sales team member to help you sell, that's the next level of leadership. So I just loved everything that you said right there. Thank you so much for letting me put you on the spot. Okay, so the next is the take the lead and win, because high-paying clients, they want to meet their match, okay? So I'm going to talk a little bit about this one because I love this topic. Okay, so I am, and gosh, I can't believe I'm going to say this on stage because then I'm going to really have to do it, but I am planning on launching a podcast this fall. And I'm really excited about it. Yay! I've been doing my talk show for a while. It's been super casual. Has anybody ever watched Sales for Breakfast? Anyone? Yeah, okay. Well, it's about to explode. And I'm really excited about it. So I have been doing my due diligence on making sure that whoever I partner with for the launch of my podcast is the absolute best in class, and I'm willing to pay for it. That is it. I want to know they've gotten people to the top 10%. I want to know that they've helped their clients monetize their podcast. I have a very specific vision for what my podcast will look like, and I am not willing to change it at all. So I have been searching for people to help me with this. And I have to laugh a little bit. So this last one that I was on, so beautiful website, really well done LinkedIn, professional brand photos, the whole 9 yards. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy is it. Like, I am going to book a call with him. I'm so excited. I can't wait. And I get onto the call, and he turns on his camera, and his laundry is hanging behind him. I was like, kind of squinting my eyes a little bit, trying to make sure that's actually what I saw. And he was like, well, you can tell I'm a sports fan. So he purposely hangs his laundry, but it's his sports shirts behind as his backdrop. And I'm like, this is weird. I'm just going to let it go for a little bit. So he starts talking, and he's like, hey, I'm not really going to talk about what I do. I just want you to know that I can totally help you. So we're going to talk about some other stuff. And I was like, what is happening right now? I don't even know where this conversation is going. He's like, oh, I remember this one time I was doing this. And he's like, oh, you know what? I think I still have the receipt for that. And he starts picking trash up. I'm not making this up. This happened in real life. And he's got trash. He's like, when you're a bachelor, you don't really clean up after yourself that often. I'm like, oh my God, I am not putting my podcast in your hands. What is happening? And I could not even believe it, right? Now, I know that no one in this room would do something like that, right? However, the perception is so important. It's important that if you're going to charge these prices that you act that way, right? You have to act that way in order to earn these size deals. And it is absolutely crucial that you show up whatever your best self is. My best self looks different than everyone else's here. So it's always just your best self. And the other thing is anybody still the Type A, high-achieving men or women? Anyone? Well, most service providers do, because that's who can afford service providers. So if you're a freelancer, service provider, or contractor, most of your clients are Type A, high-achieving people, or creatives who need extra assistance, right? So, contrary to belief is Type A, high-achieving men and women. I am one of them. I have to control a lot of things in my life. I'm in control of my business, my kids' schedules, this, that. Having to do all of that is kind of exhausting sometimes. Can anybody agree with that, how exhausting that can feel? So if I'm willing to spend a large amount of money with someone for them to help me with something, I sure hope they have a game plan so that I don't have to think about it. So instead of thinking when you show up on a sales call and you're sweating and you're like, oh my God, this person's so much more successful than me, their revenue's more, all of the things, and then you decide you're going to take the back seat to the conversation because I don't make as much money as him or her, or I haven't been in business as long as him or her, or what could they possibly need from me? That is the opposite of what that person needs. The opposite. What she or he needs is that you show up and say, hey, I gotcha. And this is how we're going to do it. We're going to do in this amount of time, and these are the metrics we're going to track. These are the results that we're going to be hoping for and aiming for. Are you in? I think that most people are like, yeah, I'm in, let's do it, right? And that's the magic, that you get to help someone that never really gets help. if you think about that. So when you're offering these ultra high ticket offers, and honestly, everything I'm teaching right now can be applied to anything you sell, but we're focusing on the high ticket, okay? And it's just so important for you to remember that that's why you have to show up to lead. Not just so that you make the sale, but you're serving that person that never really gets help. Okay, can I get a heck yes for that? All right, awesome. And the other thing is, go big or go home has always been my motto. I've probably coached you all on increasing your pricing. I don't think I've ever not said, is that all you're charging? I don't really think that's ever not come out of my mouth. So there's a great book out there, Blue Ocean, Red Ocean. If you haven't read it, you should. It's really, really good. And the thing is that if you can create your own blue ocean, and when you're in a blue ocean, there's no competitors. There's no anything that you have to worry about. Now, when you can create that environment, that specialty environment, where you're super unique, you're niched down, and you can solve a very specific problem, that is when you start to get paid at these levels. Okay? Super, super important. And one thing that Lauren said before is how you have to do your market research and your competitive research. It is so critical because you don't know how to create your blue ocean unless you've done that research. Okay? It is so absolutely critical. All right, so I changed the name of this person because she's very famous, so I changed the name. But we're going to call her Mary. Okay? So meet Mary. So Mary has her sales are 15 times higher than mine on a monthly basis. And I knew this going into the situation. She was a friend of a friend. Like, I met somebody at Funnel Hacking Live, that somebody at Funnel Hacking Live met somebody at the next event. At the next event, somebody said, oh, you know a fractional CSO. Oh, you should do this. I mean, the chain of command was insane. It was like 5 levels of Kevin Bacon. What's the expression with that? Okay, yeah. So what is it? Somebody thought? 7 degrees or 6? Is Kevin getting further away? Which one is it? Okay, I can't remember, but it's really funny. So when Mary booked a call with me, she just sent me an email and she told me how she had figured out. She's like, I'd like to talk to you. And quite frankly, I really just thought she wanted to talk to me. I wasn't even prepared for a sales call because she didn't even say it. So I didn't even know the context of it. I put her on my connection call funnel, not my sales call funnel, because that's how much I didn't know this was happening, okay? And I got really, really sick. I never get sick. And I got super sick and really bad flu. And 1 hour, because she was early in the morning, it was like an early morning call for me. And I woke up and I was like, oh my gosh, there's no way I could talk to anybody today. So I have to send her an email, which I never cancel my calls. And I was like, I'm so sorry, Mary, but I can't meet today. Please pick a new time on my calendar. I'll talk to you later. I'm really, really sick, okay? Having no idea. So she reschedules, she says no problem, and we're ready to roll. So a couple weeks go by, 2 weeks later, once again, I did not think this is a sales call because why would someone want to even wait 2 more weeks, right? So then I feel better, we're gonna jump on this call, and I start to think to myself, why does she want to talk to me? I actually don't have any context to this call. And I was like, this is interesting, right? So I decided I'm going to start researching her company just so I have something I could talk about. And if you don't do this, you should do this. Before you have a sales call with anyone, you should enter their funnel if they have one. It is really, really important. It will tell you so much about how they operate, what they value, their offers, their structure, their everything. So I put myself through her funnel, and it was I knew she was running ads to it, but I found it on her website. She has a traditional 60 to 90-minute long-form webinar where they offer a breakthrough session at the end. It's not actually a sales call, but they offer the session at the end. You go to the calendar. You can book a time. I card abandoned clearly because I wasn't going to, because I wasn't going to actually book a call with her. And then her appointment setter calls me 5 times to try to get me back on the phone, the whole thing, okay? And so then I get onto this call. And we just start chit-chatting. She's like, we're actually really similar personalities. She learned from someone that I had learned from eons ago, so we had some common ground there. Similar age kids, we were just chatting, and then she was like, so tell me about your business. Once again, no idea it's a sales call. And so I told her what I do, and she's like, Michelle, I want you to know this is an interview. And I was like, what? I'm like in my head, I'm like, what is she talking about? And she didn't say it in like a mean way. She's just like, I'm really looking for someone to help me, and that's why I booked this call with you. And I was like, well, geez, Mary, had no idea, but let's go down that path, okay? And so quickly, because I have trained myself, habits. Things are easy if you do them over and over again. So if you're avoiding sales calls, anybody want to admit they're trying to avoid sales calls right now? Okay, well, I know the truth, okay? So you avoid sales calls, which means that you don't get practice, which means when you get the opportunity, you're choking, you're sweating, you've got a lump in your throat, you don't know what the strategy is, all of these things. So because I'm so well practiced, I could easily flip the switch, right? So we have like, I don't know, a 15-minute conversation, and I take very deliberate notes on exactly where her sales process needs improvement, how I feel like I can help her, and certain things. But at that point, anything with my fractional work is a custom proposal because it's not like it's a program or a course. So I unfortunately can't do a one-call close, which I usually encourage for this. So I said to Mary, Mary, let me think about it, and let me determine what I think is the best solution, and I named out all of the issues that she's challenged with, and I'll send you out an email tomorrow, and then let's just plan on talking on Friday, and we booked a call. She's like, perfect, no problem. So sat there that night, and sitting at my computer, and I don't do formal proposals. They take too much time, kind of drive me crazy. I don't even like to read them myself. So why would I create it, right? I usually create things that I would want because it makes sense for me and that it makes sense for my clients, right? So I'm sitting there and I have a glass of wine. I'm like on my computer and I don't remember what I was doing. I think my husband was doing some work with me too. And I was like, okay, let me write this up. So it's like a 3-paragraph email, and I follow the same structure every single time. Like, this isn't the first time I decided I was going to write this email, okay? I do this every single time on custom proposals. So I have a format to it, which you all get, which will be amazing, okay? But the key is that the email does not work if you do not listen to the person you're talking to, okay? You have to be the best listener on the planet to be great at sales. You have to be the best listener on the planet to be great at sales. That means that you have to learn to wait to talk, and you probably don't have to talk that much. I have audited, 1,000 sales calls in my career, and there's some really cool tools now that exist, like Gong, and Gong records calls, and then it does these really cool things inside, but you can see how long speakers talk. And when I open up a Gong file, and I see that the sales rep talked 70% of the time, and the prospect spoke 30% of the time, I'm like, guarantee this is not a sale. I don't even need to listen. There's no way they made a sale. And I am right every single time. So the thing is, any introverts? Any introverts in the room? Oh, yeah. Guess what you're great at that extroverts really have to work hard at, and you don't? Yes. So that whole thing about I'm an introvert and I can't sell is like a giant fat lie. Like a giant fat lie. And I know so many sales leaders that personally try and recruit introverts over extroverts because they're so great at sales. Okay? So hear it for the introverts. All right, so this is what we're going to talk about. Let's look at what that's right. Okay, so then I push send on the email, and I decide I'm going to charge her $30,000, $10,000 a month retainer for my fractional work. And I outlined all the details in just a second. Now, remember we had that call booked for Friday? So it was like a Wednesday. The call book was booked for Friday. I sent this Thursday morning, and we didn't even need our call on Friday because it was already paid for and inactivated. Okay? So here's my email. Now, you can take a picture right now, or you can scan a QR code and get the whole slide deck delivered to you, which is probably a lot easier, okay? So, but this is the thing. What is really, really important here is that you see how well I listened. How much do I really talk about myself in this email? Can anybody read it really? I think, yeah, you can read it pretty well. I mean, I think I have 2 sentences about myself in this entire email, and everything else is very, very clear and specific to Mary's needs. Like, very specific. And the reason why that is so important is that sales is not about you at all. At all. simple. Sales is about the other person and how you can help them. So the more you make anything about yourself, the less likely you are to close a deal. But doesn't that feel so much better? Doesn't that feel so much better knowing that you don't actually have to talk about yourself a bunch? I'm going to tell you what's really important, social proof. Social proof does all of the talking for you. If you don't collect testimonials, please write it down in your notebook right now. I will collect testimonials, okay? If you do not have case studies, get a case study. If you do not interview your happy clients on social media and broadcast it to the world, please start doing client spotlights. Social proof is so critical. Now, if you're sitting here and you're going, oh, Michelle, but like, how do you ask for it? Like, do they really want to do it? Yeah, they do. Every single one of your happy clients would be thrilled to give you a testimonial. So do not let that hold you back because they're waiting for you to ask. They're waiting for you to ask, and you need it for your business, okay? So this 3-paragraph formula is super simple. So first of all, hey, thanks for meeting with me. Pretty easy, right? Now, I want you to be very keen to what I wrote here. I am very confident that I can support you. So not like I think or I might or all of these disempowering words. I'm like, hey, Mary, I got you. That is what she wants to hear, and that's what I know I can deliver. So I recapped quite a few things that we talked about on her goals, and these are very specific to her needs. These aren't general things that I can do. Like those percentages aren't my general numbers. It had to go back to our specific conversation, okay? Then I gave her, because she had asked me, she's like, well, do you help companies that sell to consumers and not just B2B? And I was like, yes, actually I do. And so I made sure that I went back and found a client that has a similar size audience as Mary to track back to show her someone very similar. So it was intentional on the example that I used. And then I went in, so a big thing with Mary was her workload. She didn't have time to be the sales leader within her organization and lead her sales team. She needed to truly be the CEO. And so time was what was valuable to her more than anything. So that's why I went through and did that as well. And then I made it really simple. Like, this is going to be my retainer fee. Not like, what do you think about this? Or it might be this. It's like, no, this is my fee. This is it. Here's the link. You can start to go pay for it, right? And then I said, if it's in alignment for you, let me know, and we'll move on. Not like, and anything weird at the end. And I used the word alignment because I knew she'd like that word. That's powerful, it's feminine, it has conviction to it. It was perfect, right? And then I added a little bit of a personal note on the end because we geeked out over shopping. I love shopping. And so I told her about the subscription box that I get that's called Newly. Anybody else do Newly? Oh, this is so sad right now. You all need to know about Newly, okay? So it's N-U-U-L-Y, okay? Write it down. And it's amazing because you get 6 or 8 pieces of clothes every month, and they're like the best brands ever. Super. Anyone like Free People? Okay, so it's like a lot of Free People-esque stuff, but I love it. And so anyway, long story short, I put a personal note at the end. It's important because people want to work with people that have similar values, right? That have similar values. And it's not likability, it's more of alignment, right? Because, I like a lot of people, but it doesn't mean I'm going to give them my business. Okay? So you want to be really, really careful with the words that you use. Now, go ahead. I'm going to give everybody a second here. Just scan the QR code. I love how big it is. So I was speaking in the Bahamas on a cruise ship in January, which was really cool. I've never actually done a talk while floating, but that was really interesting. And the screen was so tiny, it was hard for everyone to get the QR code. But this is very lovely and perfect for scanning QR codes. Okay, awesome. Okay, see phone down. All right. So, and I have quite a few stories about this, but I never tell my clients to do something that I've never done before. A, I think it's rude, and it's not like setting up good expectations. And 2 is, until I try it, I want to know if it works, and the case that it works, and all the things. It's really important to me for me to try things before I teach them. So I had done this strategy so many times over the last couple of years, And so I finally said, oh, I'm going to see if Ashley wants to do this. So Ashley's one of my clients, and she likes to do fractional work as well, but as a CMO, Chief Marketing Officer. And she coincidentally, right after I closed Mary, had voxed me and said, Michelle, like I have this huge call coming up for fractional work, and I want to charge $15,000 a month. And she was telling me the whole thing. She's like, I've really struggled selling at this level before, and I'm scared. Like, what should I do? So I was like, I'm going to send you this email. Keep it to 30 minutes. This is what we're going to do. And I laid out all of the things. What's really cool is that she closed it as fast as I did. And I was like, woo! She's never even done it before. And she was like, oh, awesome, $15K a month in my pocket. Like, it was so incredible to see that, right? So I tell you this because I don't want to be on the stage saying, hey, guess what? I'm really good at sales, and I can close all these deals, but I've never proved anybody else can, because that would be really, really, really horrible for me to do. So Ashley can do it. Y'all can do it, okay? All right, awesome. Can I get a heck yeah? All right. Okay, so I think the big question you should have right now is you're like, great, Michelle, cool email, but like, what do you actually say on the call? Is anybody? I hope you're thinking that right now, because that would be the next logical step. So we're going to break down a little bit about why it works so well. And I've teased it a little bit, but I have a structure. So the secret is what I call the status game, okay? So sales is essentially a status game. And it is important for you to feel comfortable with it and just understand it is. It's like, this is the status that I'm in. I'm really good at what I do, and I'm really looking forward to helping clients who value what I do, okay? That's all it means. It doesn't need to be like this elite thing where you feel like uncomfortable saying it, but it is. It's a status game. Plus, it's a really cool acronym that I can make this out of. Okay, fantastic. Anybody else like an acronym? All right, cool. So we're going to talk about the status frame. So I'm not going to tell you about what questions to ask on a sales call, because that's just, you could probably at this point ask ChatGPT that and give you some answers, right? I'm going to go much deeper into this of the psyche of decision making, which hopefully is not on ChatGPT yet, okay? So the first thing here is status. So I need you to stay focused on a conversation framework that leverages ethical, psychological buying triggers. Now, what I want you to hear is ethical, okay? Because what did I say in the very beginning? What happens if you use high pressure? And a framework is simply the intention to the call. So when I'm on the call with the guy with like his jerseys in the back and the trash everywhere, and he's having random conversations, that is not a framework, okay? So decide, what is your structure of your call? Now, everybody's business is different, right? But you start with rapport, you ask questions, you look for aligned vision, you close and you ask for the sale in the simplest form possible. You might have a demo in there if that's something that's relevant to your business. You might have some other questions you need to ask, but just have a framework and stick to it, please. It's really important, okay? Next is to take the lead and establish authority and claim the power position. So one thing I even go so far to talk about, now I believe you should be doing this on Zoom, not a phone call. Anybody know why? Yeah. Thank you. Oh my gosh, such an incredibly brilliant room. You don't even need me. Why am I up here? So that's it. It is buying decisions are made on a lot of things that aren't spoken, nonverbal communication. And what's fascinating to me about everything I'm teaching today is that, so I have my BA in communications from UC Santa Barbara. Any other gauchos other than me and Dawn in the room? Yeah, so Dawn and I both went to UC Santa Barbara, and we found that out yesterday, so it was like very exciting. And the comm degree there is actually like, I mean, I thought many times of calling them and be like, do you realize that your degree is actually in sales? Because that's what it is. It taught emotional intelligence. Anybody else obsessed with EQ? You should be. Okay, emotional intelligence, negotiation, organizational communication, and why people make decisions in negotiation. Wow, did I land in the right job after that degree, right? And I still remember to this day that when I told my dad I was going to get a comm degree, he's like, what you going to do with that, Michelle? And I was like, I don't know, but we'll figure it out. Like, I think it's going to be really good to learn all of these things. So now he laughs. He's like, that was the best choice ever. So anyway, you need to claim the power position, and you do that over Zoom. I even go so far as like the angle of your camera, because angles of camera, so I'm on a stage right now, and I'm looking down. It's not like a look down on you like you're bad or something, but it is a power position, right? Can you imagine if I was like in a pit and then you all were above me, how different this would feel? Right? So these things are really, really important, and they apply to your Zoom calls. Next is actively listen to subconsciously disarm the buyer and build instant trust. So disarming is a really hot topic in sales. A lot of sales experts talk about it because this is the deal, is that no one shows up heart open, just ready to give you all their money. Nobody does that. Okay? So you have to disarm the buyer, which means make them feel comfortable, make them feel like they can trust you, make them feel that you're confident in what you can do. This is critical, okay? Next is transfer your energy to the buyer by building selling momentum and prevent buyer hesitation. Oh my gosh, buyer hesitation, that's a sticky one, right? Like nobody likes to end a call with indecision. That's like the worst, right? Because I'd rather get a no than a maybe, because maybes are hard. So you always want to end on a no or a yes. And with this, the transfer of the energy. So a lot of people say, Michelle, you've got a vibe, your energy, I love it, all the things, right? I'm like, oh, that's like a really sweet thing for people to say. And the subsequent question I usually get is, you're great at sales because of that, and I'm not like that, so how am I supposed to be great at sales? And I'm like, have you not been listening? Everybody has their own unique energy, their own unique amazingness, and you can be as magnetic as you want to be as long as you want to show up and be your best self, okay? So how do you show up to be your best self? You take care of yourself, you work out. Lauren and I, both obsessed with yoga. Like whatever makes you feel good. Like do the things, just take care of yourself. Take care of yourself and show up and be grateful that you get to be self-employed or a business owner. That energy, everyone craves positive energy. And I forget what the study was. I really want to look it up. If anybody knows it, you can interrupt me. But it was an experiment of a negative person walking in a room of 5 people that were considered neutral energy, and a positive person walking into a room of neutral energy, okay? Which is interesting. And within less than 3 minutes, the room had absorbed the energy. How powerful is that? So the negative person made everybody negative, and the positive person made everyone positive. That is the power of energy. And it is crucial in selling because people want to feel good when they give you money. Okay? Next, you have to uncover their pain, not just their problems. People fix pain, not problems. They can tolerate problems for a while. You know, like if you have a broken funnel and you're like, whatever, I'll do that manual task for a month till I can get to it. That's a problem, right? A pain is, oh my gosh, I just spent $10,000 on ads and I didn't realize the funnel was broken. Oh, fix it now. I'll pay anything, just get it fixed. 2 very, very different conversations. And the reason why that's important is you want to be able to identify pain versus problems. And the reason why is that it establishes you as a category of one, which means that you are the only solution for this problem, and I can fix it for you. Really, really powerful. All right, so this is the harsh truth about people. 1, no one likes to be sold to, so stop sounding like a salesperson, okay? If you go to a used car lot, you'll probably feel like those are salesy people, right? But if you go to, everyone ever gone to CarMax to buy a car? Oh my gosh, they're the least salesy people ever. It's amazing. I want to buy stuff from them all the time, right? So even if you're in a traditional salesy industry, you can make the choice to be something else, okay? Next is, people don't buy because they like you. I'm sorry. People might disagree with me, but people buy from people they respect. They buy from people that have similar core values. They buy from people that are confident in their ability to fix a pain. And that is who people buy from. And it is really, really important. Likability clearly is really important. That's how you initially get into the room, okay? But after that, there's a whole nother category to it. The next is body language, tone, energy, all speak louder than your words. So what I was talking about, the energy on Zoom, why I do Zoom calls. Can you imagine if I was up here and I just stood like this? Would you guys be interested in what I was saying? Probably not, right? You're like, what's wrong with her, okay? So same on a Zoom call. If you lean back and you're slouched versus engaged like you would be in person, that impacts the way that you're viewed. And that is really, really important. Okay, the next thing is here's the tough love. Everybody okay? Do I get permission for a little bit of tough love up here? Okay, thank you. I cannot tell you how many people I've encountered that complain they have to sell in order to be a business owner. Can we just say that again? I want to own a business, but I don't want to sell. That is a conundrum, right? That is a conundrum. So I'm sorry, but you don't have the choice. So you need to find a way that you like selling, and that's a million different ways. Like Lauren was talking about earlier. You could run a funnel to a killer sales page. You could have a social seller. You could do a webinar. You can do sales calls, but you got to find a way to sell, okay? Or you can hire someone else to sell your stuff. That's an option too, all right? So you have to train your mind like an athlete trains their body. I've done a marathon, a triathlon. I'm signed up for a mud run. I hit personal records on Peloton all the time. I'm 500-hour yoga certified. I played water polo, and I'm only 5'2". If anybody knows anything about water polo, when you're 5'2", you should not play it, okay? And the reason why I share these things with you is because I'm an athlete at heart, so I've trained my body like an athlete, which doesn't mean that I'm perfect or in perfect shape, but I understand what it takes to achieve a goal, right? And it's the same goes with selling, is that you have to train yourself. You have to listen to your recorded calls and see if you've improved. I know listening to yourself sometimes can be really, really hard, but that's what you'll need to do in order to get better. You need to actually do sales calls to get better, okay? Yeah, this is true. You actually have to do them. So when it comes to your daily activities, how are you pushing people to your sales calls, okay? And next is, and the last part of this, is that the committed always find a way. Yep. So how committed are you all to being a business owner or self-employed? How committed? I want to hear it. Committed? Okay, so you will find a way. You will find a way to fall in love with selling from one of the million ways that you can sell in your business. Okay, so how do you achieve this status frame that I talked about? Now, what's really, really cool is the speaker after me is all money mindset, which is amazing because I'm a great motivator, but I don't heal money wounds. So she's going to be amazing to follow me up here, okay? So my first thing is you got to deal with your money issues. That just said it, okay? And thank goodness we got somebody following who can help you do it, okay? Number 2 is to identify and compartmentalize your drama, stress, and trauma, okay? When you show up to a sales call, it's not about you. It's not. You got to leave all that stuff behind and show up your best self. Next, high vibe. Like I said, your energy will attract that perfect client. Has anybody ever had a client where you kind of were looking in the mirror a little? You're like, oh, wow, that's pretty powerful. Like, we're actually really alike. Anybody? Yeah? I get it all the time. I mean, I was on a Zoom call earlier this week with my group coaching students, and I was going down the line, and I was like, wow, I've done that. Oh my gosh, am I looking at myself? Like, your energy really does attract certain types of people. So choose your energy wisely. The other thing is, I know that not everyone's an early bird, but the early early riser gets the bird. Oh my gosh, what is? Yeah, that's it. Okay, awesome, right? And I really, really, really believe that to be true. So get out of bed, please, early. Have your quiet time. Do whatever fills your cup. Like, I am the first one up in my house, and I am so happy I'm the first one up in my house. And it feels so good to have my coffee quietly. I read the morning news. Anyone else read the Morning Brew? Anybody else? Yeah? Woo! Okay. Then it's like the best. You can sign up for it. It's a great summary of all the hot news in the country. And then sell your genius and deliver on your promise. Oh my gosh, please don't be another great marketer and a terrible deliverer, because there's a lot of them. So fulfill on your promises. It is so important. Just like I said before, if you get stuck in a sticky client situation, you can get yourself out of it. You're smart, okay? So if you promise something, make sure that you deliver it. Next is to commit to personal excellence and settle for nothing. So what's interesting about excellence is it's infinity. It means that you can always strive to be 1% better every single day. I don't like the word perfection because A, nobody's perfect, nothing's perfect, and it's boring because there's an end, and then you're done, right? Excellence changes every day by your new level. To me, that sounds more exciting. Oh, thank you. Oh, yes. All right, so now let's talk about why my model is so profitable for selling these ultra high ticket deals. Client acquisition is inexpensive? Oh my gosh, for a second there, I misread that. I was like, I did not say it was expensive. Okay, so to get a referral or to network your way or to find these ultra high ticket people, the thing is it's really inexpensive client acquisition, okay? If you're running ads, your margins are super, super low or negative, and you're just hoping you or your sales team can close a high-ticket offer on the back end to make it work, or you get recurring revenue off a subscription model that may take a few months for you to be profitable after the client acquisition. This is just the truth. So if you're selling ultra-high ticket, and you're really working your relationships, the room, you're going to networking events. I did not invent it, but I do teach it, the Dream 100 method. It's amazing. If you're intentional with your time and you're selling high ticket, I mean, this is a little hack that I do. So anybody else get 1 million ads in their Facebook feed? Yeah, so guess what I do? I have a folder called prospects. And when I see an ad in my feed, and I see that it says book a sales call, I'm like, that's interesting. That might be my people. So I tag it and I put it in my prospect file, and now I've got a bunch of leads. Or if I see someone with a sales process that I'm like, I could improve that, I tag it and I put it in prospects. It's a hack that you can use where you don't even have to be searching for your Dream 100. They're coming to you because you're talking about it and your phone is listening. That is amazing, right? Okay. And the other thing is that if you can always charge more in these circumstances. You do it faster, okay? People pay for speed, they pay for ROI, and they pay for you to save them time because time is the most finite asset in the world. So if you can give people their time back, that is worth more than anything. And if done correctly, you will see an 80% profit margin. And if you do not go back and look at your stats, it is so important. I mean, CPAs, financial planners, bookkeepers, there's a lot of resources if you don't know how to do this to figure it out. But just like Lauren, I killed a couple of products this year because I looked at it and I was like, well, the juice is not worth the squeeze on that one. So we're done with that. But you just have to pay attention to it and then decide, where are you going to place your energy? Okay, so like I said, you can do this, but you got to break all the rules, except for one, which is to use the status frame. All right, so here is the download again. And so if you missed it, you can get it again. But guess what we're going to do now, which I'm so excited about. Oh, this was what I promised to do at the end, the evolution of my business. I love what Lauren was talking about when she had the Ascension model up and showing what can happen, is that if you grow with your clients, you don't always have to get brand new people into the pond to sell to. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about. So if you grow with your clients, that means you get repeat clients, which means your client acquisition is lower, which means you're more profitable, which means you have a better reputation, which means people are going to send people to you. If people think about sales and my name doesn't come up, I'm so mad. I'm working so hard to be Sales Michelle, Sales Michelle. And if you grow with your clients, amazing. So I'm going to give you an example so that you can apply it to your business. So when I first started, I was helping solopreneurs master their sales. Then, as a fractional chief sales officer, I realized, wow, I'm really good at building high-performance sales teams. So now, my new container is to do exactly that. How do you prepare your business to then sell and to then be able to be sold by someone else, so growing the sales team. So you can evolve. You can evolve, and you can make the decision at any time to change, as long as you're putting the effort in to make it happen, and you can deliver on your promises. So if you're sitting here right now thinking like, oh, well, the offer I have right now maybe isn't worth, the 20 to 50. I don't think I could charge that. The good news is, eventually you can, and you will find that offer if you're paying attention to the clients that have the best results. Okay? Awesome. All right. So could I get a quick time check? How am I doing on time? I don't even remember when I started. Yeah, I'm going to start it right. Perfect. Okay. So now we're going to do something really fun. Do you need my help on that? Oh, okay. Oh, you. Wow, that was good. All right. Just like right here. There, perfect. Okay. Okay, I'm going to do something really exciting. If you know me well, you know that I claim I can fix any problem in 15 minutes. Okay? It was, yeah. All right. So I love this. So I need someone to volunteer. Okay? Oh, hello. That was so fast. I love it. All right, come on up. Boop, boop. You don't even know what you're volunteering for. All right. So I love that you don't even know what you're volunteering for. It's amazing. Okay. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to talk about how you can take your current framework, okay? So frameworks just mean how you get people results. So sometimes service providers think like, oh, I don't have a framework. And I'm like, yeah, you do. You do. Because you do things in a certain order that get a certain results. That's a framework. You don't have to be a coach to have a framework, right? So what I like to do is let's take what an existing framework is and decide what we need to add to it or maybe take away